So the recent Republican obsession with schooling is the battlefield the GOP plans to stake their political future on. Think about it. There's guns, there's abortion, but no, they won't go after these issues. And it's the focus of Jonathan Chait's latest piece for New York Magazine entitled Indoctrination Nation. Convinced schools are brainwashing kids to be left-wingers, conservatives are seizing control of the American classroom. And Jonathan joins us now. You write in your piece, it's pretty good here. You get right to the heart of the matter, that it's hardly novel for Republicans to emphasize the need to improve schools. Ronald Reagan administration published a report, A Nation at Risk, that inaugurated the modern education reform debate. But you continue. What sets the current movement apart from these previous efforts is not merely its greater intensity, but its focus. Academic achievement levels are incidental to Republicans' concern. Their main preoccupation is not the ways in which Chinese and Swedish kids may be outpacing their American counterparts. They are instead accusing schools of carrying out an insidious indoctrination campaign that they believe poses an existential threat to their party's future and their way of life. And I guess, Jonathan, my first question is, do they really believe this? Do they really believe that, like, don't say gay is so important that it's existential to the future? Or banning certain books? Really?
Yeah, I think they do. And that's really the number one point I want to make in this piece, is that I think a lot of people who aren't hardcore conservative Republicans see this as a cynical messaging exercise and just an attempt to rile people up. But I really think that conservative Republicans believe this. They're concerned, they're freaked out about the ideological tenor of schools, and they think schools are turning the kids liberal and they've got to change it. So they're acting on these beliefs. So I think we need to stop dismissing this as just messaging and trying to rile the voters, and really think about it as a serious attempt to change American education.
Okay, on the face of what you're saying, I'm gonna believe that they believe it, but I need to understand. I mean, for example, some of the laws passed in Florida. I'll go to some of the more, I think, the ones that have really kind of sparked a lot of outrage among members of all parties who really are worried about school shootings. And they have, like, don't say gay, for example. And this is for kindergarten to third grade or something. Is it really happening? Or
it's all the way up to 12th grade now.
Hold on. Oh, it's all the way to... Are kindergarten teachers walking into class and saying, oh, here's my friend Johnny, he's gay, let me tell you what that means, and let's hear what the difference is between gay and straight. Like, what are you talking about? Is this really happening? Are these teachers really doing this?
So what I try to walk through it and show that there is an element of truth. There's a germ of truth in these fears. You can find a lot of liberal and progressive teachers who, from time to time, are trying to, use the classroom to advance some left of center thoughts. But what I'm trying to show is that, number one, the Republicans have exaggerated in their own minds the scale at which this is happening, and number two, that their response is really clumsy and disproportionate. And in some ways, especially at the college level, is just doing the opposite of what they're accusing the left of doing, which is imposing their own ideological and political agenda on the classroom instead of trying to have some kind of reasonable middle ground.
And I think you're right, Jonathan. There's definitely truth to all of it in some way. In some, it's just a germ of truth, and in other ways, it might be very true. But this germ of truth that they capitalize on and then create into an entire crisis when, Reverend Al, you can take the next one to Jonathan, when we're dealing with women's health care literally getting decimated before our eyes and children getting shot up in classrooms.
And I think, Jonathan, I understand, I think I understand your point, because I know when I was younger and they took prayer out of the schools, there were people that really believed prayer should be in the school. But then they were manipulated by people that wanted to use that for political reasons. And I think, don't you have to consider, as you look at this, and I'd be interested in your view on this, that there are people that take these real believers and now have expanded it, going after intersectionalism, like with Kimberly Crenshaw's teaching, going after black history, going after women's history. So where you may have had a germ or a seed of real believers, there is a whole political movement now that is using this for very misogynist, homophobic, and racist reasons for a political outcome.
Absolutely. And a big part of what I'm trying to show in this piece is that they've unleashed the most right-wing parents to object to material in the school library or the classroom and to harass teachers and librarians into taking completely innocuous material out of the classroom on the basis of these hyperventilated claims. So. What has at its core some reasonable elements and a whole lot of hysteria has just been unleashed across the country into this pretty unreasonable and dangerous movement.
All right, New York Magazine's Jonathan Chait, thank you very much. More to talk on this for sure.